Hey guys, this is Dinah Michelle, and you're watching 3 Count Podcast.
Welcome everybody to another great edition of the 3 Count Podcast presents Now Entering the Ring. I'm your host, Clifford Red Dog Miller, and I'm the one that's leading you on this exhibition. So let's get into this and let's go down our roster. You see the man himself. He is one half of pure ignorance. He is the muscle of the group. He is the backup mouthpiece because the mouthpiece is not on the show. But give it up to the man himself, Prince Machiavelli.
Always great to be here. Love being here to interview people. Let's get it.
Let's get it. So this is Now Entering the Ring, which means one thing. We have a special guest for you. You can find her on AEW. You can find her a part of Hurricane Pro. You can find her on Mission Pro Wrestling. You can find her a part of SWE Fury out of Dallas, Texas. You can find her at a World Class DFW, Ladies Night Out, and so many more. She has wrestled the Who's Who's list and still going strong. Give it up for Miss Reality herself, Madi Wrenkowski.
You weren't kidding. That is an intro.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, it was entertaining. I was entertained. I was just sitting back listening. It was great.
So welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And we're going to get this going. I got a question for you. Who is Madi Wrenkowski?
I am. Duh. No, basically, Madi Wrenkowski is me. I pride myself on being real. I pride myself on saying what I want to say when I want to say it, and then dealing with the consequences later. And I think that is Miss Reality. That is where the name comes from. I think I said it on social media one time, like the Miss Reality comes from a set of 3 people. It is the Kardashians, obviously, because they're a reality show, Eddie Kingston, and Enzo Amore. So all of them have inspired me to be real, be who I am, with no apologies.
Hey, that's, you know what though? Like Eddie Kingston, Enzo Amore are not bad, like bad people to model yourself after your mic skills. So like that's
yes.
And then of course, you know, like you said, they are leaders too, and the Kardashian sisters are like front runners when it comes to reality TV. So you can't go anywhere without hearing something about those.
And that's not a bad thing.
It's not really. This is like what Eric Bischoff used to say all the time, like whether people love you or hate you, business is good. And like the Kardashians, like there's a lot of people who love them. There's a lot of people who dislike them, but everybody always seems to talk about them somewhere.
Exactly. They do what they want when they want. And some people like them for that. Some people hate them for that. And that's just living life.
Yep. So let me ask you this next question. Like, how did you get into the business?
So I actually would like to call it fate in a sense. Like it was always like an ongoing joke when I was going through college that I was just going to quit and I was just going to become a professional wrestler. And my mom was like, no, you're not. Like, get your degree first and then ruin your life. So I did that. I got my degree. And then I was actually set to go out to a job. But like 2 weeks before I was supposed to, a volcano exploded. And so I was like, yo, this is fate. So they were like, you can either relocate or like move on. And so I was like, I'm gonna find a wrestling school. So I did just that. I went to Booker T's fantasy camp in Houston. There I ended up meeting Gino Medina. He's actually signed to MLW. And he actually introduced me to Chris Marvel, which is the trainer at the Hybrid School of Wrestling, which is where I actually started my wrestling journey. So it's been quite the adventure to get to where I am. So
yeah, and I was gonna say, because I was looking at your like history of like where like you made your like debut matches and stuff, like in such a short time you've made such a huge impact. Like,
you know, it's what happens. It's what happens when you're unapologetically yourself.
Hey,
over the volcano thing. That's what we're doing. I said, because geez, that's a big sign.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it was fate. Like if that didn't happen, like I would be like outside in a park, maybe like crazy by now, speaking to animals like Snow White or something. You know, who knows?
So
Crazy like duck lady or something. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's funny. So seeing that you said that you've been in a business for a short time, but you made such a great impact. Just curious, like what's been one of like the worst bumps you've taken?
Oh, um, I'm not sure if there's like really been like a bad one. I think a lot of times the ones that hurt the worst are when you're first learning how to wrestle. Um, and you're just like, you have to unlearn like your natural tendencies to want to catch yourself.
Right.
So I think that's the only thing. Like once you start getting in your own head, that's when things go wrong. But if you just like, let's do it, then you're fine. You're fine.
Okay, so then I'm just gonna ask, like, how much did that bump hurt with the DVD on the stage at AEW with Britt?
Oh yeah. That I put that behind me. I mean, it hurt more of my pride than anything. Was not expecting that, especially at that time. It was definitely a mission statement, I would say, for her, but it hurt my pride more than it physically hurt, but it did also physically hurt.
Because I've heard a couple of thuds like hit that stage, and yours had
Yeah.
a different one to it, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's feeling it.
I'm densely packed. It made a large impact. Yes, that was that sound.
So my next question for you is just, it's going to be a similar related topic, but I'm just curious, like, what's been the hardest hit you've ever taken?
I would say jazz. Jazz hits really hard. And that was my first match on the independent scene. It was a lot of girls don't like hit too much anymore. Like they're all like too busy like flying and doing lucha stuff. Like Jazz, even though she was my first independent match, to this day, I've never been hit like she has hit me. And so that being said, I know I hit hard. So it's about even, but yeah, definitely jazz. Jazz hits hard.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so I know Prince has got a few questions for you, so I'll let him ask his questions, and then I'll finish up, and then we'll get into the 10 count questions.
Oh, okay.
All right. So my first question is, what does women's wrestling mean to you?
So I don't know. Women's wrestling, I think it's something that is on the come up. I think that it is very undervalued, but it shouldn't be. I believe Mission Pro is actually spearheading that women's, like, especially on the indie scene, I should say, not just in general, but like on the indie scene, I feel like they have really set that foundation to people go there, I guess, not to go see a women's wrestling show. They go there to see a wrestling show. And I think that right there is almost a definition. Like we as women wrestlers, or that women's revolution, we're not asking you to be like, oh, women are so great. Like we are just wanting to be on that same like level. We are wanting to be on that same scale. We're not wanting you to look at us and be like, wow, great women's match. Like, no, we want you to look at the match and be like, wow, that was a great match. Like, stop singling us out just because we are female. Like, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be able to wrestle at a high caliber. And it also doesn't mean that you should give us any slack in the same sense. And I say that in the same sentence because there are definitely some promotions that I was watching today as well, where you're like, you look at it and you cringe a little bit. But I think that a lot of the mainstream stuff that you're seeing now is kind of women taking back that narrative. We're no longer doing those weird specialty matches. Women are hitting hard. and they're coming out in many shapes and sizes. And again, you see that at Mission Pro, like no one girl on the roster looks the same. Like some look better than others, but like no one looks the same. And it's all different shapes, sizes, colors, backgrounds, like even the wrestling styles are different. And so it's amazing to see what kind of competitors they put up against each other. So that, I guess that's what women wrestling means to me. It's a new way of life. It's a good way of life. I don't know how to explain everything I just said in one sentence.
I love so my next question. Debuted on AEW.
Yeah.
What was the emotion that you were feeling coming out onto the stage, having all those bright lights on you? What did it feel like?
So all of the hours leading up to it, terrified. Honestly, as soon as I walked out of that tunnel, I can't even tell you what was going on in my head. Like, obviously I was probably scared, but like the charisma and all that stuff that was displayed on screen, none of that, I don't remember that. And so like I just remember like when it aired, everyone was like, oh my gosh, like look at you with like the attitude. And I was like, yeah, I literally don't remember doing that, but I guess I did do that. And so then all the ones after, every entrance after, I was like, okay, I got to do the same thing, because freaking robot Madi took over and she just did her. And that's how it is. Cause like, I never had an entrance like that on a stage like that. Like I didn't know what to do. And I just went out there and my body just took over. And so in a weird way, it felt like right. Like I didn't plan it. I had no idea what I was going to do. But it felt right. And yeah. And obviously like once you're in the match, there's no going back. So
yeah, it's kind of getting that match. It's like all the fear and everything just goes away. And it's crazy because that whole time you're worried.
Yeah, no, especially like the whole time before, because you just have all of that time before and all the matches before to just be in your head. And like anyone who's ever wrestled on the indies knows that like once you have your match, you have people judging you. If the promotion puts it on YouTube, you have people judging you. But then in my head, I was like, okay, not only is this like past the indies, this is AEW Dark. There are thousands of people watching it within the like live stream. I was like, oh my God, just don't have a wardrobe malfunction because I can't. I can't. So I was like, that's like what was going in my head. I was like, I'm gonna throw up or like something's gonna happen. I'm gonna trip. So that was all the before. But like once I got out there and once I got in that ring, it kind of melts away and it's just you and your opponent. And there's nothing really you can do after that. It's just go time from there. No take backs, no nothing.
Wow. My next question is what motivates you? Like what pushes you to be the best and do the best of your ability? Like what's that defining thing for you?
I would have to say I'm a very competitive person. So when I'm doing something and I can, because obviously like what he said with the women's revolution and everything like that, like women are being more empowering for each other. And I'm all for that. I love that because it was a heavily male dominated sport. But now like women are helping each other out and they're there for each other. But at the same time, we're all fighting for the same spot. And so being very new, coming into a wrestling company or just even like doing the work in AEW and having to like when I go back on the indie shows that I'm still a part of, like you still have those girls who may have been there for a little bit longer or whatever. And they kind of have a little bit of resentment or like they act a little different or they want to come at you sideways. That fuels me. I love it. I love when people are angry at like what I'm doing. Like, I probably need to like go to therapy, but it's great. Like, I love it when people think that like I'm not gonna do something, because like I said, I came from hybrid. There was only one other girl there. She was younger than me, so she was super nice to me, super nice. But I wasn't necessarily really good friends or have any like connections, uh, like pre-pandemic, with other wrestlers, in like female ones. And so it's nice to get noticed for the work that I have put in and the skill that I do have. And I love seeing how bitter these girls are. It just really fuels me to do so much better. So I can just post that other AEW little card. Oh, watch me this week. And it's just nice.
Oh, yeah. And I see my timeline every I see it on my timeline every time. I was like, when Cliff told me we was interviewing you, I was like, dang, I literally just seen her on my timeline 3 times.
I know, because I share all my stuff, and like every time like I have like a match and like these girls want to come at me or something on Twitter, like I'll definitely go toe to toe with you. And they're like, oh, like why are you retweeting your own stuff? I'm like, okay, first off, I'm like my #1 fan. Why wouldn't I retweet my own stuff? Like anytime someone mentions me, like I'm gonna retweet it. Why? Because I want my success in your face. Like, why not? I don't see any of their stuff. So plus, who wouldn't want their timeline filled with me? Like my GIFs or GIFs. I actually just learned that it's like supposed to be said GIF. I was highly upset because I've been calling it a GIF. But anyways, that's a discussion for later.
Oh no, it's so crazy you say that, because you know, like we literally harp on people all the time and tell people like, hey, yo, be your #1 fan, because you aren't gonna, sometimes you won't have that fan. So be your own fan. And then people get mad at you when you are that fan. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, why do you hate me for liking me? It's like,
yeah, I mean, who else is going to? Like, yeah. I mean, they always say like, oh, you're your worst enemy, but also I feel like you could also be your best friend, because at the end of the day, like, who's the one up here with you? Yourself. Right. Like, if you just stay hating on yourself, that sounds pretty miserable.
I'd be like, somebody call me out on Twitter and be like, shit, you wasn't shooting with me in the gym. Get up out of here.
Exactly.
So a question I have for you next, right, is after the matches, everything's done. Normally, I know a lot of wrestlers don't eat, right, before the show.
Yeah.
So after the show, though, everybody has like that post-match meal. So what's yours?
I actually I just eat. I wish I was better about what I ate sometimes, but like for instance, like on indie shows though, I would always buy like one of those share size packets of peanut M&Ms. Like, I use the word share size lightly because like no, that's a challenge. I can eat those all by myself. Like, no. But that's what I used to do, also because I'm cheap and they're only like $1 or so to buy before every show. So that, I guess, is something that I do. But other than that, I just eat.
No, that's awesome. So I know like every wrestler, every ring announcer, every commentator, every referee has one of these stories. So I'm very curious about yours. Like, what's been one of your favorite fan interactions?
Ooh. So one of my first ever student shows, again, like I'm nobody. This little girl, her dad came up to me and he was like, oh, she wants to take a photo with you. And she was like super shy. And I was like, kids scare me. Because they do. So I like took this photo with this little girl, and then like almost every show after that she was there, and then she started to like have signs made, and just like each time she was at a show, like she was just opening up more and more and more. And like the last show I saw her at, and it's crazy because obviously people age and so do children apparently, but like the last show she was at, she was singing like that all the leaves are falling down, and we were like jamming to it, and I was like, okay, and she was comfortable with me, and I was like, yo, this is the first kid that's ever liked me, like this is wild. And so that'll forever be in my heart, little Teresa.
Well, now
she's my favorite.
So now
yeah, because even like yes, and like every AEW appearance that I have, her dad sends me a video, because obviously she watches those too. And so typically her hair is always up in like a half pony, or it's like braided or whatever, and he'll be recording her, and then she'll see me and she'll be like, Dad, I'm gonna take my hair down so I can be like Maddie. And I'm like, I don't know if you want your kid to turn out like me, but thank you so much. Thank you, but sorry in advance.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny because like usually my daughter will come and she loves doing these interviews. Like she loves meeting all the new female wrestlers and stuff. So it's crazy that like, you know, unfortunately this time she's wanting to sit outside and watch iCarly. So I'm like, all right, whatever, you do your thing.
iCarly?
Yeah, that's her show.
That's old, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean I'm ancient, so she fits
whatever
for it. All right. So what kind of advice do you have for wrestlers, like up and coming wrestlers?
Up and coming wrestlers. Why do I want to give them advice? Like, hello, this is a competition. Just kidding. Let's see. If I could tell an up and coming wrestler anything, basically you are a product. Just because you see dudes looking like Kevin Owen out on the indies doesn't mean they can wrestle like Kevin Owen. So get it into shape, get it into some shape, because not everyone's Kevin Owens, and we don't want to see 30 Kevin Owens on the same show. So get yourself healthy, not even just in shape, get yourself healthy mentally and physically, and also retweet your own stuff and retweet my stuff.
Yo, I like that. All right, and my last hard-hitting question is just give me one do and one don't of a locker room.
Of a locker room. Do clean up after yourself. Don't poop in the bathroom.
No, that's great. Those are great advice.
You're welcome. That is a good one.
Like both those.
Saving a lot of people's lives with those.
All right, so that is for all of our hard-hitting questions, but it is time to get into the second best segment on the 3 Count Podcast, which is the 3 Count Podcast 10 Count questions. Here's how it works. I'm going to fire off 10 questions at you. It's whatever first thought comes to mind.
Okay.
All right, so let's start this off with our imaginary timer. Bing! And here we go. Mario or Sonic?
Mario.
Favorite movie?
10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
Heath Ledger's hot. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm a Julia Stiles fan.
To each
Kim
their
or
own.
Courtney?
Wait, what was that?
Kim or Courtney?
Oh, Courtney, duh.
Favorite song to sing karaoke to?
Oh, shoot. Probably some type of Bruno Mars song.
Hey. 3 things you would take with you on an island?
A toothbrush, an airplane, and my cat.
Bad. Well, you said this already, but I'm very curious. Favorite actor?
Probably Orlando Bloom.
Nice guy. He's a very nice guy, actually.
Yeah, he's also hot. So
Donald Duck or Mickey Mouse?
Ooh, Mickey Mouse. Favorite
podcast?
Well, you said the first thing, so it's gonna be y'all right now because that's all I can think of.
Nominate one person you want to see on this show.
Myself.
Let
me.
Yo, we always bring you. Yo, if you are available, we will bring you back as many times as you want to come. Like that's cool with me.
I'm not very good at these first thing that pops in your head.
You're doing excellent. Don't worry about that. And then last but not least, my favorite question to ask every single guest that comes on this show, favorite curse word?
Fuck.
That's right. That's all that needs to be said.
No. During commercial breaks, sometimes on Dynamite, I think like 2 or so weeks ago, I was playing that like first thing that comes to your head with Ryzen and one of the dudes from Bear Country, and like I was awful at it, and like I believe one of them was like toe, and I was like Mato, and I was like, wait, that's not. And it was rough. But we were just going back and forth, and we were all saying the dumbest things. So that's what this movie is.
That's awesome.
Who would you like to see? Myself. Like, what the heck?
Yo, no, that's a great pick. You can, like you said, you got to champion yourself, and that's what you did. All right, so that's all the questions I have for you for the 10 count questions. But the last thing I have for you, Maddie, is just let our listeners and our viewers know where they can find you.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all under Madi_Wrenkowski. That's MADI_WRENKOWSKI. If you can spell it, you can find it. And then you can also find my merch website in the bio of all of those.
And there you have it. So with that being said, I am Clifford Red Dog Miller here with Prince Machiavelli. This is Now Entering the Ring with Madi Wrenkowski. And you guys know what to do. Tune into the next episode and be there, or you just wait right here and the next episode is going to play. Peace. What's going on, 3 Count Nation? I'm Clifford Red Dog Miller with the catchphrase. But what I really want you to do right now, go to twitter.com, right? Go over there. Find us at the 3count_pod. Give us a follow. Give us a like. Give us a comment. We want to talk to you guys. Go to IG at the 3countpod. Give us a like. Give us a follow. Leave us a comment. We want to interact with you. Go to youtube.com. Give us a subscribe. Turn the bell on. Turn the notifications. Leave a comment. We want to talk to you. Go to anchor.fm/the 3count podcast. And in there, you can leave us a message and we will talk to you. Basically, what I'm trying to tell you is that we want to talk to you. We want to have fun with you guys, and we love listening to what you guys have to say. Also, one thing I need you to do for me, the 3 Count podcast also has merchandise. Oh, at prowrestlingtees.com/the 3count pod. Please go buy our t-shirts. We love you guys, and we hope you love us too. So show us some support, please.